So I have a confession to make. Last night, I fell into a 7-hour binge hole. When I went to bed at 2:30, I thought to myself, damn it, I effed up. But then this morning, something shifted. When I woke up at 7:40 and I was laying in bed, tired, of course, but I didn't fall into my old shame loop. I was laying there processing what happened, and I realized, hey, this actually makes sense. I got up and I did all the things that I needed to do to take care of myself. And I've actually had a pretty productive day. Not only that, I've actually felt pretty good. And that's a huge shift because it feels like a whole new world of possibilities have opened up. Because in the past, that would have stayed with me throughout the entire day. And maybe you felt the same. Maybe you know what your triggers are, but then you fall into them anyway. And that actually makes it worse because you say to yourself, dude, I know I shouldn't have done that. Like, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep repeating this? And that's a confusing and difficult place to be. And so I want to share with you how this shift happened for me and hope that maybe there's something in my story that can help you understand yourself. What I've come to understand in the past few weeks, months, is that this idea that I should be able to will myself into this perfect pattern, perfect habit, perfect lifestyle, that's a form of ableism. And it's not actually real. Like, it's not actually achievable. So let me explain. I was recently diagnosed with ADHD. When I found out and told my friends, many of them said, you're the last person I'd expect to have ADHD. And yeah, I can see that because on the outside, I'm a high functioning person. Like, I come across as put together, regulated, calm, present, have my shit together essentially. But that's kind of like a duck on water. When you see a duck floating across the water, all you see is the body. But underneath the surface of the water, the feet are actually kicking really hard. And so what we mistake is that, the duck is just gliding there. And same thing with people with ADHD is that on the outside, we seem normal like everyone else. But on the inside, we're actually working really hard just to do the basic things. We don't have as strong of an ability to regulate our attention. So then what happens is that in order to function in the world and to meet the expectations of our society, we have to rely on different compensatory mechanisms. So that looks like having anxiety, always worrying about, am I forgetting something? Am I going to be late? Or using pressure and shame as a way to follow through on commitments. And this is a really important concept to understand. Shame is actually serving a function here. I've forgotten appointments. I've showed up late. And I felt terrible about that. And so that shame lives in my body as a way to get myself to not be late, to be considerate of other people's time. And similarly, when I fall into this binge hole, I use shame as a way to try to control myself in the future. And most people do this. People use shame and self-judgment, self-flagellation as a way to motivate them to behave. And this isn't a personal flaw. This is how most of us were raised because we had parents and teachers that used punishment as a way to change our behavior. And this is especially true for people who appeared, quote unquote, normal on the outside, but the inside, they just couldn't do the things that other kids could do. So then the story becomes, well, if other people can do it and I can't, then there's something wrong with me. And I just need to try harder. I need to effort more. I need to get better. I need to be stronger. Whatever it is to become enough. And this isn't just about ADHD. We all have ways in which we have privileges and deficits in our lives. Maybe you grew up in a home that was chaotic or abusive. Maybe your parents got a divorce. Maybe you're an immigrant. Perhaps you grew up poor and didn't have the socioeconomic benefits that other people do. Or maybe you were bullied from being different. Whatever happened, whatever it was, everyone is a unique individual. We all have had our differences in life. And those differences give us great strengths in certain areas and also deficits in other areas. And when we expect ourselves to perform the same way as everyone else across the board, and especially in today's age of social media, where everyone presents themselves as perfect all the time, that gap results in us feeling not enough. It results in us feeling ashamed of ourselves. But here's the pivotal understanding, is that shame is trying to motivate us towards love. It's actually trying to change us into a way that we believe will be loved by others. Like behind the shame, underneath the shame, is the desire for love. If I'm able to stop scrolling addictively, if I'm able to quit drinking, if I'm able to stop eating impulsively, then maybe I'll be loved. Maybe I'll be accepted. Maybe I'll feel good about myself. Maybe other people will feel good about me. And I want to take a moment, just acknowledge that there's a lot of grief that can come up. Seeing this, the important thing to understand is that shame serves a purpose, or it did serve a purpose. It's like a pillar that's holding up our life. And if we don't have an alternate support structure, if we just pull out that leg of the stool, then it's going to collapse. And that's what I realized this morning that I've been building up towards for the last couple weeks, is that in order for me to let go of this shame narrative, I needed to have a different narrative. I needed to have a different sense making of why I keep doing what I do and how to make change in my life without having to use shame. But it started with me having to first accept that I can't do it. What I mean is that when I did my ADHD assessment, there was a test, there were several tests actually, in which I was given an instruction to perform a set of memory and attention tasks. And I literally couldn't do it. I mean, it was something like, remember these numbers or manipulate these numbers in a certain way. And I could not do it. I felt like I could actually see my mind just not being able to function. And when I think about what happened last night, so I got asked to DJ a dance party in a few weeks. And it was about 7:30 last night. I had finished my work for the day. And I thought, well, maybe I'll sit back and relax for a little bit before I wind down for the night. And instead, I started to go through my music library, looking for songs and putting songs together for the set. And then I just kept going and going and going, way past my bedtime. Here's why it happened. One, it was at night, so my capacity for self-regulation, willpower, executive function was already diminished. Second, there was a lot of novelty involved, finding new music, thinking about different ways to create the set. And then third, there was the potential promise of social reward, let's just say, or social connection. And that set of stimulations stacked on top of themselves, plus the fact that I was already depleted, I had no chance. My nervous system had no chance of self-control. Like, I might as well have been smoking crack. Like, I just had no chance. And I realized this in the morning, and it made sense because I understood the mechanics. It was essentially inevitable that I would fall into that pattern. And this is what I mean by the alternate story. Instead of I'm not strong enough, I don't have enough willpower, or I'm not disciplined enough, I could see that, I just can't do this, just like I can't remember those numbers in my test. And so that's the first part. But that alone isn't enough to turn around that shame. The other part is that I needed a way to modify my behavior without shame, because that was the function that it's been serving my whole life. And for the past couple weeks, as I've been integrating my ADHD diagnosis and learning about my constraints, I've been intentionally designing around them systems that require less effort and make success inevitable. For example, before I go to bed, I fill up my water bottle and place it next to my bed. So when I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I see, and I drink water, which starts my morning routine. When I wake up in the morning, I don't need to use cognitive resources to walk me through the process of hydration and the rest of my morning routine. So it's about working smarter, not harder. So coming back to this 7-hour binge hole, I realized, okay, not a good thing to do at 7:30 at night when I'm already taxed and I don't have scope around what I'm trying to do. And I don't have an answer for exactly what systems I need to build to support my nervous system at that time of night, but I know that that is something I can solve. That's the problem that I can solve. And I think this is really important to understand, which is that when we shame ourselves, we make ourselves the problem and not the constraints. We're actually focusing on the wrong issue. And I'm not saying that building willpower and discipline is not valuable. It absolutely is. But at a certain point, there are diminishing returns. Like if you are generally really consistent, you're able to go to the gym, you keep your home tidy, you eat well, you do all those things, but occasionally you have slip-ups. Then the question isn't about how do you be perfect in terms of discipline. The question should be, what happened in that point of failure? And how can you build scaffolding and support around that failure criteria? And if we focus on ourselves as the bottleneck and try to develop more willpower to get stronger, that actually takes away from our attention towards solving the real problem, which is, there's an environment mismatch. There's a lifestyle mismatch. Because if you keep repeating the same mistakes, that's a sign that it's systematic. So change the system. And that's super liberating. It's super empowering because now I can use my creativity, my imagination to learn more about ways that do work and to explore and to run experiments. And that's what I meant about how it opens up a whole new world of possibility. But I can only do that if I stop focusing on myself as the problem. And I really open my eyes, the aperture of my mind towards the reality as it is. It's about seeing reality truthfully and then taking action upon that. And so I'm curious how this is landing with you. I'm wondering what you're getting out of this video. If something resonated for you, if there was a light bulb that went off for you, please leave a comment, because that would help me immensely in knowing that this mattered, and would help me have a direction for how to create more content like this. And if you want to watch another video of mine, it should be somewhere around here.